Well, welcome our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. Today says Business Incorporated. I am Bosi Namafai here at our global headquarters in Lagos. Now let's get the program started. A new partnership to pursue criminal proceedings against capital market infractions is being signed today between the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Meantime, from the World Economic Forum, Nigerian-born Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, wants joint efforts between African governments and the private sector to tackle the continent's power deficit. Plus, Egypt on track to receive the second tranche of IMF $12 billion 3-year loan. The stock market there is in red. A bloodletting day in Egypt. But let's get started from Nigeria, where the SEC and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, in about 2 hours from now, signed a memorandum of understanding that will enable the capital market regulator to pursue criminal proceedings against individuals at the domestic marketplace. Sources at the SEC says the deal with the anti-graft agency will empower the regulator to proceed with several criminal aspects of multi-billion naira investigations pending against executives and officials of some market institutions that are already suspended from activities. The new SEC-EFCC partnership will allow the anti-graft agency make immediate arrest and prosecution of individuals whose concluded case files are sent to it by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So a very nasty day Thursday at the Egyptian stock markets. The key market index down about 3.5% in the afternoon after reports that the authorities were considering temporarily reintroducing a stamp duty on stock market transactions. Don't forget that Egypt is receiving $12 billion from the IMF and has been doing everything to make sure it's in line for the second tranche of that money. Look at the rest of the markets within Sub-Saharan Africa. The Nigerian market about 0.1% weaker today. The South African GSE is flat at 52,900. And there's the closing figure for the Kenyan Nairobi Stock Exchange market, 124.19 on Wednesday. So we're looking at the solid fourth quarter numbers from the Saudi Arabian blue chips helped the stock market there. The Tadawul Stock Exchange today, that's the largest lender there by asset. The National Commercial Bank made a net profit in the 3 months ending December 2016 of about 2.29 billion reals. That's about 7.5% higher, boosted by more income from commissions and investments. You're looking at the intraday for the rest of the region there on your TV screen. A bit of a quiet day, but some gains not too solid. Okay, now we're berthing in Europe, where investors are digesting remarks from the U.S. Fed chief, Janet Yellen, yesterday, and waiting to hear from President Mario Draghi of the European Central Bank. The meeting of the ECB holds today. Let's bring in Lars Holter, DWTV financial correspondent for Channels Television from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Good afternoon, Lars, and it's good to see you. Now, I was reading your tweet, okay? And again, a lot of tweets out there about what's happening at the marketplace. But very interesting day. Many European markets heading south around breakfast time, early, late morning hours today. The key question I was asking myself, who and what is upsetting the markets?
Well, actually, markets have been open a little bit weaker this morning, but they are pretty okay right now, pretty stable. Nothing has changed much. It's actually pretty quiet right behind me in Frankfurt, but on other markets too. But you're absolutely right. There is some tension that we're feeling in the markets. There is a certain amount of uncertainty. And it, of course, when you ask who is behind that, mostly it is two people. It is Donald Trump and it is Theresa May, maybe the most important people this week, because they put us in a very difficult spot, especially here in Europe, on the European markets, because on the one side, of course, you have Donald Trump being sworn in tomorrow as the next president of the United States, which leads a lot of people in Europe to say Europe and European countries have to take more leadership in the future to stabilize the global world and the global economy. Usually there was a role that to a large part fell on the United States, but under this very, very uncertain leadership that we're seeing from there over the next approximately 4 years, this is really tricky. So everybody is saying Europe has to be more active and assume a leadership position. And then on the other side, of course, on the other side, you have Theresa May, who is now with Brexit and with specifically now a hard Brexit weakening Europe just at the time when Europe is needed to be a strong force in a global environment. So things are tricky, and this week it all comes together between the hard Brexit announcement on the one side and the Trump inaugural tomorrow.
Just very interesting. But back to mainland Europe, as far as the ECB is concerned, I'm sure the investors and traders on your trading floor will be well trying to think through what Mario Draghi will say today. What are the expectations out there?
Well, the expectations are that really nothing is going to be happening with regards to the interest rate policy and the bond buying program. All that will most likely remain untouched. Very interesting, though, is a look behind the scenes, and we are awaiting the press conference to hear, hopefully, some details on what is happening within the committee, because the dynamics there are pretty interesting. As much as we've had this low interest or zero interest policy in the last couple of years that is very accommodative to the markets, it has been criticized as of late, especially now that the economy is picking up left and right. Inflation is ticking upwards, and a lot of people within the ECB have been saying it is time to return to a more normal policy. Now, officially, that has never been discussed, how to end the 0% interest rate policy, when to end it, when to really wind it down. And it seems that these discussions will be had at some point. Maybe they started today, and we hope we're going to hear something, a hint of that, during the press conference, which is going to be on in about an hour.
Yes, thank you. But finally, Samsung, do you think the storm is over for these tech giants, South Korean tech giants? You know, the judge says, the special prosecutor is